Where do I begin? He failed on AIDS in many ways, in terms of leading, in terms of naming this and rallying the country to do something about it. And that remains, I think, a blight on his record. However, I would also say this, that when he was president, what could have been done? I mean, the research that was built, and it was built, and NIH did a lot of work, and it was funded, and in fact the Republicans have a very good record of funding the NIH. You could, and they did, liberalize the FDA's restrictions on people being able to try experimental drugs, which was a crucial victory. But again, that was for ACT UP to do, and subsequently Treatment Action Group to keep the pressure up. I don't look to a president to solve these problems. I do think he failed to show the kind of leadership on it that he should have, and I think it remains. But there's a sort of Kushnerite view that Reagan killed us all, which is just usual Kushnerite crap. I mean, this is the man that wanted to inject the Rosenbergs into the AIDS crisis through that ridiculous play of his, Angels in America, that really did. They wanted to believe this was created by Reagan, that he was a Hitler and there was a Holocaust. No, he was the president and there was a plague which nobody knew how to stop. That's the reality. And in which gay people in our families rallied and created the movement and to foster research and to spread awareness and to help ourselves. And we did an amazing job to have actually found an effective lifelong treatment for this, for the first time in history for retrovirus, was a scientific miracle. And I think when you look at it objectively from a scientific point of view, and I lived through this, so I saw this, I can't imagine it ever being done more quickly. And apart from that, the public educational messages which were necessary for safer sex were done autonomously in ways that would be more effective from the community than from government. And insofar as government did do that, it created this myth of heterosexual AIDS in which everybody was going to die from it. It promoted distortions and lies. So I disagree with him. I think it is a black mark on his record, but I don't think he can be held responsible for the deaths of people under that virus. On the other front, I think that basically by the late 70s, the liberal model of post-war America, and Britain for that matter, and much of Western Europe, was in severe crisis, failing to deliver the very things it promised. Inflation out of control, unemployment soaring, growth declining, and also the Soviet Union feeling able to invade countries at will, as it did in Afghanistan, because it did not see in the West a clear ideological and intellectual commitment to opposing one of the most evil ideologies that ever existed, communism. And his ability to stand up to that and to speak these truths at that time and to point out, as he did, and I quote, "At this present moment, government is not the solution, government is the problem." Well, maybe I've got this slide, but the point I make is at this present moment, he understood that that was a moment for really drastic conservative reform, which he did pragmatically, and which he then turned towards the amazing peace dividend of his last years. I loved the man, and I still have great fondness for him. I think he was a decent, civil, cheerful, optimistic, and inspiring figure. And I don't take any of that back whatsoever. He did traffic in some of the aspects of the right that I think have become more concentrated and poisonous now, and he bears some responsibility for that. But he also, he basically restored this country's faith in itself at a moment when it was truly in serious self-doubt. after Watergate and after Carter. And that's a great thing to do. Whether he will, in the end, be seen as one of the greatest presidents, I don't know. I don't, for example, think he was the greatest president of the 20th century. I think that was Eisenhower. But he was a remarkable figure. And I don't regret the fact that in 1980, in an English high school, I wore a little Reagan button on my lapel just to tick people off. I don't know. Reagan's funny because you either got him like instantly and loved the guy, or you didn't. And all I would say is just go watch again the speech he did on the beaches of northern France, where the D-Day landings took place, and his tribute to the boys at Pointe du Hoc. And so much of America, of its really great decency and sacrifice and honor, was put into words that day in ways that left me weeping at the time, that did credit to what happened and what this country did for the world. And he understood that. He felt it in his bones. And remember, too, he was a Democrat before he became a Republican. And I think that helped inform his ability to reach more people than the current crew of clowns and idiots.